I'm raising 2 stepkids, so I ended up having 3. But that wasn't my mission. See, some women, it is their mission to have a lot of kids. For me, that would be a bloody nightmare. A bloody nightmare. And that's just plain point honesty. And I take my hat off to the women that can do it. I mean, there was this one lady who gave home birth on the kitchen table with all her kids watching. And I thought, in church, and I thought, oh, Lordy. Definitely not my style. But the point is, that's not my part of the tapestry, you know, but it was hers. And thank goodness we have those women that do that, you know. It just wasn't my part of the tapestry. So anytime you find jealousy coming up inside of you, pull that back and say, wait a minute, what part of me thinks I can't do what I want to do? What part of me is not valuing me? So we're going to come back and read more on that next week, because I don't know how long this is all going to run. If we have time, we'll go back to more. So this is, let me go to, okay, this is it. Okay, so in my angels years ago would say to me, I was a channeler and did lots of group work, but the mission was when he died and passed from the earth plane, it's Dr. James Martin Peoples. So, I mean, of course, loving the medical, I channel a doctor, right? That's how I learned a lot of things. Scott's teaching me what I didn't know from Dr. Peoples. But the beauty of it is he said, when he died, Christ, the energy, and please when I say Christ, there's different forms of the Christedness. We are reaching our Christedness, which is the halfway point to our realizing who we are. And yet there was a being that walked upon the earth. I knew him as Yeshua and Joseph. That's how I knew him. And when I was a little kid, he'd appeared to me and talked to me. So my spirit guide said when he died, he was met by Yeshua ben Joseph, and he said, we're having a problem with humanity. They have forgotten who they are. And what would you suggest we do? And he was a spiritualist teacher on the earth plane. He said, well, and he came up with 3 statements to use. Number 1, loving allowance for all things to be in their own time and place, beginning with yourself. Number 2, open communication with respect. And number 3, you're always the creator and never the victim. 4, it is through your own choices and perspectives. You do, you have, and you will create your reality. Now within that is worlds of information. So, now this is Bashar's rules. How many of you know of Bashar? Yeah, okay. He is a channeler, and he channels off-world. It's a little different. It's a little different cadence, but very viable information. His is, and this has been adapted it might not be exactly Bashar's because I created what I needed to live by for me, but it is, you exist and you are here now. Now, why that's important to me is my guides would, as I was soaring up in here, they would say, meanwhile, dear, you need to get back to clean the toilet. The toilet still has to be cleaned on the ranch. And that was his way of saying you can fly high, but you still have to mind the store here. If you don't mind here, what's going to happen?
It's going to fall apart and you'll die.
You don't have a root.
Because we came to bring the energy through and to ground it in. That's why we're here. The strongest of the strongest is here. So you exist and you're here. Now is the toilet for me. You are one with the all, and the all is the one. The one is the all, meaning that you are one with everything, which was what is the decree, right? The decrees are teaching us we are one with all. We are not separate, we are one with it. Now, that doesn't mean you don't have boundaries. You do have boundaries. But it means that you understand, in Cynthia's world, she has very good boundaries. You know, they're always being perfected, but, you know, you can't go into oneness until you have your boundaries in place. Otherwise, you'll fractal and come apart. So what you send out comes back instantly, right? If you slander somebody, guess what? It's going to come back at you. And I turned that off.
It wants to go crazy, doesn't it?
And I turned it off. Go figure. So what you send out comes back. So it's the mirrors. If you send something negative out, you're going to get it back. So whatever it is you're feeling, deal with it. Don't send it out into the collective cosmic energies, because the law of the cosmos is you're the creator. Okay, let's send it back to you so you can see what you're creating. Now, it used to take a very long time for us to get our creations back. Now, if you judge something, guess what? Somebody's going to judge you for that. So there came, when Scott told me we would, St. Germaine said this had to be on tape. I almost fainted, didn't I?
Yep.
I fell apart. I said, I don't want that. And St. Germaine says, get over it. Is that not a judgment? I go, oh, I hate it when they give it back to you. So it came right back at me. So I'm getting over it. It's there, but I don't see it. Okay, you are the creator of your reality. Again, what my spirit guides taught me. You create whatever it is you want. It is through your full attention that you give it, that you're creative. Everyone in here can create whatever it is they want. Write a list of what you want to create. That's where the poster boards are so valuable. So I'll tell you another funny story. I did up my poster board in the early days. You know, I'm faithful. I still do poster boards. I still have a wall that's covered with my creation. And I kept hearing, put a new car on there. I go, I don't want a new car. Put a car on there. So I found this SUV, white SUV, put it on my poster board. And, it was about 3 years later, my car died. And I went down to Phoenix. I was working down there. I went to the car dealership because my car wouldn't get me home, so I had to get a car that night. And the guy had prayed to God that he would stay till the last person left the lot. I was the last person to walk on the lot. So anyways, long story short, I went like this. I said, that car, you know, and he said, I said, let's go do the paperwork. He says, don't you think you should drive it? I said, oh yeah, that might be nice. But see, what I had done in the ethers was already created. So it was about 3 months later, I hear my collective team cracking up. And I said, what are you guys laughing at? And they said, do you realize that's the car that's on your poster board? I said, oh. I ran inside to look. There was the car on my poster board. So I tell you those stories because you are that powerful of a creator. Even though you don't know you're creating it, you will create what it is you're putting your attention on. And I always put my poster board at the foot of my bed, so I saw it the second I woke up and before I went to sleep. So I never spent a lot of time just focusing on it, but see, it went into the unconscious. So that's why we need to watch also what we view on TV, blah, 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 blah. And every once in a while, I just want to shoot them up, bang them up. I do. I give that lion part of me that because my dad was a cop. And as a police officer, it's in my energy fields. So every so often I will turn that on and I will watch it. And then I get easily saturated, you know, very quick. You know, so anyways, it's being comfortable with who you are. So everything changes in life with these rules. Can you think of a rule that exists outside of these rules? Scott, can you think of anything that exists outside of that?
Oh, I can think of a lot of stuff, but it's not pertinent right now.
Okay. All right. So we'll have that talk. So in my life, if I send it out, it comes back. In my life, I difference here. So this is why I have refined it to this type of the thought form. Okay, so I'm going to pass out this paper, and we're going to talk about the power of water.
While she's doing that, St. Germaine's telling me to go ahead and tell you something.
You go ahead.
It's been interesting. St. Germaine has been coming through with such powerful statements on love. That we came from love, we're going back to love, so we need to learn love again in our lives. And one of the best ways to do this is by breathing. Breathing brings in prana. Every time you breathe, you not only breathe in oxygen, nitrogen, all the stuff in the atmosphere, but you're breathing in the prana, or the energy of God, because it's all around us. And when God breathed the breath of life into us, it was the prana, and it keeps coming into us until we take our last breath, and then we the body goes away and dies. But one of the most important things we can be doing right now is every time you breathe, program yourself to breathe in the love of God, because we're going back into that. The fifth dimension is made of love, light, and plasma. And we've got to get used to that. And so that was the main thing I wanted to say, is just bring in the love of God into your heart, and then you can spread it to the rest of your body.
Exactly.
And we did a meditation on this, and if somebody'd like a copy of it, we've got copies of it.
Thank you, Scott. Feel free to always interrupt anytime.
Oh.
I'll give you the front stage here. You can be on camera.
Oh, I can talk forever. I'm not supposed to.
All right, so I need a volunteer who has water in their container. Great, come on up. So you all know that water is programmable, right? Okay, so let me put this down first. I want to body test you. Okay, give me your arm, whichever one you want. Okay, resist. I'm going to make certain I got the strength to go in there. There, I got him. Okay, so I'm going to zip you back up so you're strong. Okay, so hold this water, okay, and just think of the water, molecules in the water. Okay. Okay, so you can see it's not making him really strong, is it? You're weaker than you were. What's on this label here? Natural grocers. Let's erase natural grocers and make sure it's not the energy coming off of natural grocers. Okay. All right, so think of the water, just water. No, it's still not strong. Even the label on your
Put
car.
love in it.
Anything. Well, wait just a minute.
Oh, okay, sorry. I'm getting ahead.
Okay.
I do that with my wife, too.
I
Sorry.
know. It's a good thing he understands me and I understand him. Okay, so this is programmed water.
Tell them what you mean by program.
Yeah, I am.
Okay.
Give me a second. Okay, now drink it down. Leave a little bit there. You got a couple drops. Okay. Okay, let's test you now. Think of that water. Ah! And you guys saw how hard I am at trying. I pushed harder than I did in any of the others, didn't I? Okay, so programmable water, if you look at your paper, this has been sitting with a decree. And you're all going to get some of this, so you can taste it yourself. Could I have a helper? Please? Okay. And then you would give them the water. So somebody could go get half cups in the water. So it's been sitting on this, the violet flame. And this is how it's been programmed. Now, when I get up in the morning,
That's the trifold flame
yes,
of the heart.
yes. So if any of you want a copy of this, you need to give me a couple bucks because I'll have to get it copied and laminated so you can put your water on it. So we'll take a list afterwards. But here is how I've done this. And I do it the first thing in the morning, so here's my pattern. I get up in the morning, I go into the kitchen before I do anything else. I drink my cup of water, I hold it, I have mine in a jar. I hold it to my chest and I say, I call forth the violet flame and I erase all negativity in my body. I clear out all diseases, that they instantaneously dissolve or go away. So here's an example. I call upon the power of the life force of the violet flame in my mighty I am presence. I invoke the healing of any and all diseases in my body, whether it be of mind, body, or spirit, to be fully healed as I drink this water. I decree that this be so, and so it is. So my decree is there, and this is on top of it, and my water is there. And I do this faithfully every single morning. I also sleep with, under my pillow, this. So my head's on it all night long. And I sleep in the violet flame, so I am protected at all times in the violet flame to transmute, because you travel at night. And then when I wake up in the morning, I also reinstitute the violet flame. Any questions?
So you have it sitting on that and also say the words out loud in the morning?
I do.
And what about that copper pot? Is that something significant?
It was just the prettiest pot I had.
I just heard people
elegant
say
to do this. That you can do it in anything. I've got a mason jar at home. I do it in a mason jar. So it's the importance of understanding the power that we have through our decrees in the violet flame and what it does. And you saw that. You saw exactly how strong he was with that. Can you imagine sipping on this all day? Now, I do it first thing in the morning, because I don't do it all day long, because I save it for that first. But I'm telling you, I go and lay back down for about an hour, and my whole body does this. So when I worked in not St. George, in Florida, I was a part of a medical Qigong clinic, and I watched water programmed all the time. They put muscle building programs into the water, and people all of a sudden were athletes and everything was getting super strong. You can program water all the time, but just think about the water we consume we go to the store and we buy the water, but what is the water doing really? What is alive in the water? And you all know Dr. Emoto's work, right? But just here, compassion and then heavy metal. I'll pass this around, you can just kind of look at what it does to the molecules. So what's it doing to your molecules, Scott? You have something to say?
Nope.
Yep.
Yep, okay. Well, Dr. Emoto was very famous because he started out having a bunch of the not Tibetan, but the Japanese monks. They went around a poisonous pond that had been poisoned with all kinds of toxic chemicals. And he took a sample before, and it tested really bad. And then he had the monks all around, and they blessed the water. And the water, they retested it, and it became pure, clean water. And he was amazed by this, and he wondered what the monks had done, because of their energy. And what he found was that by blessing the water, it became non-poisonous. And all of us can do that. And then he thought, well, I wonder if just a word will change the water. So he started putting different words on water, and then he would freeze it and look at it under a microscope. And he found that the water with beautiful words became beautiful crystals when it would form the crystals. And when it had naughty words or negative words, it would start to look ugly. And